This time we started the conversation. Last night you two were vanished so quickly. We didn't have the opportunity to tell you about the finishing of the full moon day. Oh yes, please tell us. What did you do? We had an invitation of the manku of the village to go to the small temple to do a meditation there. To reach the temple we had to cross a very small bridge, deep down the river. You were afraid? Tutoke asks. No, not so much, says Vivi. They kept a good eye on me. The sun going down, the manku offered us a coconut. In fact, we were in the middle of the rice fields, the rice very close to harvesting. The reason why the fields were full of lines which made the impression of close lines, because of the many white pieces of fabric which were attached, with the purpose to chase away the birds. The people, finished with the hard labor on the fields, were on the way going home, carrying their tools and loaded with a large bundle of leaves on their heads, in the romantic setting of the dark palm trees as in a shadow play against the yellow sky. Jirumanku completed his preparations regarding the offerings. We waited a while. When we started with the meditation, it was completely dark, except for the dim light of 2 or 3 candles which were lit, and I closed my eyes. After a while I opened them a little bit and saw the full moon coming up behind the mirror roofs, becoming bigger and bigger. It was completely silent at that time. We experienced the sounds of silence. Not one animal was making a sound. And then it was just like someone put on the CD of the night sounds again. It was for Jirumanku the sign to stop the meditation. After eating some of the offerings, which was a lovely picnic in the dark, we had to find our way back along the roots of the trees, which looked like living creatures, such as lizards and snakes. We know that the Balinese are afraid for the dark because of the bad spirits, but we felt very protected, and we noticed that the sea also found its peace. Back in the palace, it was not easy to find our way back to the door of the dream room again. But to whom I'm talking, the 2 animal friends have disappeared, like always, as sudden as they can appear. Dream or reality. How was your day today? Today we went to the Lake Bratan. We were lucky there was a ceremony taking place. But the main reason we go there is to commemorate our wedding ceremony which we did there some years ago. It has become a tradition for us to go there every year. Oh, interesting, Tuktoker says. So you married on Bali in the Balinese way, in the Balinese outfit, with a Balinese priest and so on? No, we did it in our own way. Only the two of us. It was on our first trip to Bali. Before we started with our self-invented ceremony, we did an offering near the majestic tree when you enter the grounds. The whole setting has something romantic and magical. This we could already read in the tourist books. And that's why we have chosen it as the scenery for our wedding ceremony. But not only that, we knew also that there was a Buddhist stupa there, so that made it even more perfect for us as Buddhist practitioners. So first we did our prayers in front of the Buddhas and burned incense. And then we sat ourselves down in the grass. And we start with our wedding ceremony. First we give each other food, meaning that we will take care for each other. Then part 2, giving each other rings, meaning to be faithful. And then the third and last part, to give each other a kata, a Tibetan shawl, meaning respect for each other. We gave each other a silver ring in the shape of a knot. And then we offered flowers in the lake for the goddess to bless us for happiness and good luck, not only for us, but for everyone. And then the finishing touch, the kiss. Someone was so nice to take a picture of us. This is a picture of some years later. You can see a young couple still happy. Every year we are focused whether the little Fuji bench is still there. It was witness of our wedding ceremony. Since then it is our bench, our Fuji bench, or better, the Fifi and Hans bench. Because of the lack of water this year, I could come very near the mirror towers. On one of the corners I met a frog cut out of stone. Just as now with you, to Kodok, I could talk with him. Yes, that's my nephew. On the other corner there is another nephew. Both are the guardians of the temple. They have the same function as we have here. Your nephew pointed me to the remarkable fact that at the lake 3 religions are coming together. Balinese Hinduism with the temples, close by the Buddha stupa with the Buddha statues, and a few hundred meters more far, behind the trees, the contours of a mosque coming out. After the conversation, I looked for a quiet place at the lake and found one near a shrine, only disturbed by the sound of a speedboat. Anyway, a good place to thank the goddess of the lake, because I had the feeling that she had protected me. Why? Tutoke asked. Because earlier that day, on the way to the lake, very near the top, I got involved in an accident. A motorbike hit me from the back when I wanted to go in the car again after buying some fruit and incense. I was in a little shock because I had a déjà vu because I had broken my leg before one time on a trip. But soon it appeared that nothing was broken, so I felt very happy and protected by the goddess. Sitting in the grass, I looked at the quiet rippling of the water, and then saw her arise to my great surprise. And then my mobile phone was ringing. I took my mobile, but no one was answering. Also no number was being showed. Then I saw the goddess smiling. It was she who was ringing? What was she trying to say? But she only smiled. Dream or reality? Sorry that we left so fast last night. No, that's no problem. And you had an exciting day again? Tutoke jumps in, just finished with his toke sound. Today we went to Tampak's Ring, to the Gunung Kawi. It's funny, the name Gunung suggests it is a mountain, but it is deep down. You have to go many steps down. For Fifi, in fact, too difficult, due to her physical circumstances. Halfway she wanted to go back, but continued after seeing my disappointing face and said, I do it for you, because I love you. Ah, Tutoke says, this is a story about love. Yes, the love between us, but also the love of the mother. Because while we were going down the sometimes very steep steps, which was not easy, I had a strong feeling entering into the womb again, the womb of Mother Earth, the opposite of being born, a pilgrimage to the source. And when we went to the rocker doorway, we realized, yes, this is paradise, and sat down near the river, the Pakrisan River, and understood why they call it the Gunung Kawi, the mountain of the poets. The so-called tombs are a memorial for a king and his wife 10 centuries ago, Tukorok explains. It felt very royal over there, like a palace, paradise and palace in one, and the womb of Mother Earth, the source. And you, Fifi, you felt rewarded in the end after your act of love? Tutoke asks. Yes, I was happy. I did. I have to add, when Fifi took refuge in Buddhism, then the Tibetan Lamas gave her the name of Dechen Jalmo, which means Queen of the Paradise. So in my thinking, she came home in her palace. Just sitting there, we enjoyed the place. Yes, it was very beautiful over there. But after a while, I went on to do some investigation. Vivi wanted to stay where she was. I entered the so-called cloister, a place for monks, going to the cut-out entrance barefoot on a slippery floor. And I had the feeling that I was here before, in another life, long time ago, living in the caves as a Buddhist monk. I heard you were also a Buddhist monk in this life. Yes, that's the point. It was all very confusing. But at the same time, a happy feeling came over me, because life as a monk in a monk community is not so bad. I have good memories of it. I had the feeling to be thrown back in time or in lives. And then, when I looked up, I see a beautiful princess standing on the ridge above me. She is inviting me in all her glory. But when I look better, I see it is Fifi. Fifi as the princess or as the queen. Mine Queen Fifi. She's making the gesture to go on with her along the paddies. Because there is one more tomb, more hidden, an almost secret one. And then Fifi jumps in. To be clear, I was still waiting near the river. I never could do that walk along the rice fields. It is his dream. Yes, and we go on. Dream or no dream, when we arrived at another cut-out gate in the rock, then the queen changed into the angel. Also very natural for me, because she is my angel, and she has the name Angels in her official name. So we go through life as the angel and the monk. Going through this entrance, following the path, it was like we were entering another paradise. With beautiful flowers, butterflies, streams and waterfalls. When we finally reached the 10th tomb, we had the feeling we reached the summit of the mountain, and once more I realized why they call it the Gunung Kawi, the mountain of the poets. To my surprise, Tukodok and Tutoke are still there and are breathless listening to my story, which encouraged me to go on. I have to tell you another story regarding the monk and the angel. In our home garden, in our country, we had a statue of a monk. After a severe winter, we found it broken. Fifi was a little bit upset, but her mood changed in one of happiness as she saw that the monk had given birth to an angel, the face of an angel, in an Eastern style, and that was for us the sign to go back to Bali. But that is not all as far as statues concerned. Also, still at home, we discovered in a book about Bali the picture of a beautiful statue, cut from one piece of stone. We decided to look for it when we should be back on Bali, and so we did, but we never found it. But today was our day, because on our way back we found a very good replacement. And we saw it, we immediately knew this is our statue, the statue which we are looking for and which represents so well our Lord. Two angels, the noses touching, just as the other statue, and with the Buddha in between as a kind of witness. Cannot be better. What do we want more? You two, you are still listening to us? Oh yeah, Tukodok says. It was all very interesting. We heard everything, but now we really have to go. Goodbye, Tukodok says. Till tomorrow. In the meantime, it started to rain and we set ourselves on the veranda and enjoyed ourselves trying to play the gangong.